welcome in. It's your boy VC. Welcome to the VC Crypto Nation stream. And we are going to cover something that we are putting together for 2025. And this is after 10 years of teaching people trading systems, trading styles, covering trading, educating traders, making traders better. And what we have realized that over the last 5 years in trading crypto, with all the new traders, new people, new investors, trying so many different styles, so many different strategies, so many different things, that they can do it for a little bit to be successful, and then eventually over time it becomes unsuccessful because the problem is one common denominator: the trader. After all this time, we realized that after talking to people, the one thing we do is one-on-one, work with you, talk to you to get information. And the information we have gathered is very simple. It is the person that is failing the system and not the system the other way, right? Now, are there some better systems than others? Yes. Are there simpler ways? Yes. There's always better ways. With technology, things are going to get better. So what we're going to show you here is a trading boot camp that's coming in. And the trading boot camp does one thing. It doesn't matter what system you use, what systems you've bought, all the things you've learned, all the things you've done. This is to teach you, train you, and make you a better trader through mentality. You need to have a trader's mentality to be successful at trading, just like you need to have an athlete's mentality to be an athlete, a doctor's mentality to be a doctor. Anything that you do, you have to embody the mentality of the individual of the position, right? And what we're going to do here is teach you how to be a better trader by fixing the problem, which is you, right? Boot camp isn't a trading system. It's a trading boot camp to teach you how to be a trader, meaning to become better at the thing that you want to do by improving who you are, right? And what we're going to do here is walk you through a simple trading system that you can use to help develop your mentality on how to be a more confident, more successful, and more dominant trader, which will help you then later improve your trading skills and your gains. So let's step into this real quick. Very simple. So at Trading Bootcamp, we're going to start off with the fundamentals of a basic 1, 2, 3 steps system that we can see you apply. And then from these 3 steps, we can then go through working on your confidence, your entries, your trading mentality, your attitude, right? Because attitude is everything. And it comes down to this: whether you believe you can or if you believe you can't, the best thing is you are right, right? So our job here at the Trading Bootcamp is to teach you to believe that you can by giving you confidence that you can and showing you how to build that confidence and start to train yourself mentally to become the best trader you can be, right? So let's jump into this and how to build the mentality. We're going to do something very simple. We just need data and information to work on. And how do we get the data and information? Well, we start with a very simple cause and effect program, meaning that when something is done, it causes an effect. So, right, when you do something, it's the cause, the results are the effect. Once we have the effect documented multiple times, we can then assess the situation, show the results, and improve on the results, which will then help you improve your mentality as a trader, because you're seeing success, you're learning success, you're learning steps, you're starting to develop, and that is how you become a better trader. So first off, let's start with the basics here. And all we're going to do here is we're going to go over something, right? So you can see here at the very top, part 1 is a trigger, part 2 is confirmation, right? And then there's entry steps. So these 3 things we're going to cover right now today so that we can show you how to collect data, what's on called a 10 trade review. And after doing 10 trades by following these 3 steps, we collect the data, and from that data we can see where your mistakes are, whether it's on your entry, whether it's on your patience, whether it's on your confidence, and then we can see, you know, how you do, so we can improve in the places that you lack, right? If you have any questions or anything, the Gmail is right in front of you. And if you're in the US, that is also a cell phone number you can call or text to get information and go back and forth. So let's work on this real quick. This is a short video just to show you what you need to do here in practice, and then we can move forward. So this is the simple system of the boot camp to gather information and show you. So the first thing we're going to do here is you're going to see down below, you see this indicator here. This is called a stochastic RSI. So if you pull it up, it's right here, stochastic RSI, STOCHASTIC RSI. Put that on the chart, it pops up. Very simple. Now, once you have that up, these lines here, the green top and bottom, are simply on the right. The top is the 100 line, the bottom is the 0, because this graph and this indicator goes from 0 to 100 and then back down to 100, from 100 to 0. And in between the peripheral lines are 80 mark. This is the 50 area. This is the 20. So it goes 0, 20, 50, 80, 100. Now all this does is a simple indicator that is going to tell you when you should be buying with or selling with. So all it does is think of it as trending. When a coin is trending, it is moving up. When it is not trending or the trending is selling, then it says it's the trend of this current coin is selling. We're going to focus on longs today because longs are harder to do than shorts, and they are a very simple thing. Most people want to buy the bottom, buy the dip, and sell the tops. This will let you know whatever trade you're doing, whether you're trading in the correct direction, right? So what we're looking for here is a trigger. A trigger just lets us know when there's something coming, and that's a cause. And then the next thing is confirmation, which is another thing that lets us know that the trigger, whatever it is, has let us know that it's doing something, and the confirmation says, hey, it is actually doing something. And the secret sauce in between all this is doing it in certain areas that actually mean something, right? Meaning that when something happens and it creates a cause, the effect gives you the same average results over and over, which is called the law of average. And if those average results equal a certain percentage, that percentage can be turned into gains and profit, as long as it's an average return. And you will understand all that once we move forward. But that's what this system is based on. And then from that law of average, we can detect whether you are trading on your entries correctly, too late, too early, whether you're patient, and all the things that we need to fix your mentality to make you a better trader. So this is how this works. So we take this RSI, stochastic RSI, we're simply going to rotate it to a 4-hour time frame. And once we have that 4-hour time frame, this is how easy this is. We're going to put this here, and all this is going to do here is that when you're looking at a trade, the trade that you're going to look for is when the 4-hour RSI comes off the 0 line or on its way down, starts to head up, right? And it breaks above or just heads up. So basically right here, you can see where I put that line. This is just because at that moment is where the particular trend or movement of buyers has started moving in an upward position, right? Now you're not going to be able to see the indicator where the arrow is there. It has to print the next hour. So you see how I move this line? Every time I move this line to the right, it moves one position, 1 4-hour movement, right? So here we wouldn't actually see that line moving up until it actually printed on this next line. Now, the reason why we have this other line above it is to show you that the box that we're making will simply the first edge of that box will line up with the blue line of the 4-hour RSI headed up. Now that we have that, if there's no other candles except this 1 or 2 candle here, all you're going to do is just expend the box out, because this is a trading zone where the buyers are outdoing the sellers, okay? And this is on a 4-hour time frame. That's simple. That is the first trigger that is going to let us know that this is a trading area. It's the same thing down here. When that 4-hour goes from here and it breaks up, right? You see here at the bottom, the next one breaks up. You can see that. Then you see it break above there and touches the 20, and there we put a box. Same thing over here, where it did the same thing all the way down. Every one of these boxes represents when the 4-hour broke up, right? So you can see right there, anytime the 4-hour starts to head off the bottom and starts to head up, you can see that that's where that blue goes, right? Very simple, very easy to do. It's on the bottom, it breaks up, right? And you would get either a candle here or a candle there. Either way, those candles would show that they're breaking up at that time, and so forth. So that's exactly what it is. Now this one's a little bit different. This is where the 4 hour was heading down, and then you can see that the 4 hour actually found a little bit of support, and then on this candle it started heading back up, which is where we click to where the box is, right? So that's it. That's the entire thing. That's what we call a trigger. So when that happens, that creates the movement of an upward movement of these blue boxes. Inside these boxes is where the 4 hour is starting to head up, meaning that the 4 hour stochastic RSI is now heading in an upward position, which means the buyers have overtaken the sellers at a certain level of percentages, which normally that causes something to happen, and that cause will create an effect, and the effect will be something that we can measure, and by measuring it we can figure out what it is. So particularly here, this particular effect caused a 9% move, this caused an 8% move, this caused a 4% move, this caused a 4% move, and currently over here this caused a 7% move. So this is when those things happen. We have a cause, which is the 4 hour heading up. We have an effect, which is normally a 4% gain to 7% gain, right? That's just the first thing that we're seeing. Now, once we have that, we need step 2, which is basically we need confirmation of when are we going to make a decision to actually enter a trade. So you need confirmation. And what is that confirmation going to be? Well, it's very simple. Let's move this over. We're going to use one of our indicators. In our indicators, you go over here, you're going to type in VC space MTE, right? And you're going to type in moon, right? And you'll see the volume moon tracker. We're going to click that, and that's going to put that down here. And once we have that down there, we just have to adjust a little bit of the settings. All I want to see here is I need some moons on here. So I'm going to go to settings, inputs. I'm going to show the crossings of the moons, and there we go. So now that we have that set up, you can see there's green circles and blue circles. And what that basically means is green circles are goes, blue circles are cold, getting cold, and pullbacks, right? So now we're going to move time frames here. We're going to slide over to what's called a 2 hour time frame. And what we're doing here is all we want to know is on the 2 hour time frame, what we want to see is that once we have a trigger, which is the 4 hour RSI heading up, now we need confirmation of the long possibility, which this indicator right here is going to be your volume indicator. And what that means is when you get a 2 hour, right, and I'm going to show you the line. Here's a 2 hour moon, and we're going to move it. When this moon shows up, I'm going to turn that green or white. You can see up here that if we line that up here, that white line, if you go up, is going to come off of this candle, right? So when you set an alarm, right, and an alert, which is simply go to the moon, add an alert, right, and it tells you the alert that you can add. And we're going to add an alert to VC. You can see right here, add an alert to the VC tracker. We simply put a Ethereum, or actually we're on Solana 2 hour moon cross, meaning that the moon popped up. The settings, we're going to do it once per bar, and everything else is there. You see how it says crossing on the third thing there? So this is crossing, moon, and then we're just going to create. So now we have an alert that every time this moon goes green or blue, it lets us know. So what we would do here is that when we see a 2 hour moon, right, and this represents the moons popping up, I'm just putting in reminders and call outs where the moons are. On this candle, we have a 2 hour moon, okay? That is also called a trigger. So you have a 2 hour moon trigger, and then you have confirmation, which would be the 4 hour RSI headed up. Or they could reverse where the 4 hour RSI is headed up, and then the 2 hour moon is confirmation. And what they're both doing to each other is they're letting you know that buyers and sellers are starting to trend in a certain direction, whether it's up or down. And the moon is the confirmation of the volume, which is the price action, right? So when you have price action of people buying, the moon just gives you an alert on the 2 hour that the volume of buys are actually pushing a direction that is going to cause an effect. And now, once we have these two things, we can get in a position, which is the next thing we have to do, is once we have a trigger, right, which is one of those things happening, the other thing is one of those other things happening with it is confirmation. And then we have entry steps. How do you enter a trade once you see these things? So here it's going to be very simple. Once we see a 2 hour moon and then get a 4 hour RSI headed up, we're simply going to go to the 15-minute time frame. And once all those things happen, we do one simple thing. We wait for the next 15-minute buy signal. Okay? Now this particular buy signal, this indicator is called the VC Price Action Tracker 2. So we go to settings, you can see right here, VC MTE, just like the moons, VC MTE moons. But this one is called Price Action Tracker 2, right? Now, all that's going to happen here is this. Once the trigger happens, which is, you can see here, we have the white line for the 2 hour moon, right? That's a trigger. The confirmation in this particular pattern happened to be the 4 hour RSI, which is represented by this blue box, right? Normally it's the RSI first and then the 2 hour moon. In this case, the moon decided to be the trigger, and the blue, the RSI to the upside is the confirmation. Once we have that, all we simply do is wait for the next 15-minute buy signal, okay? That is it. So here we already have a buy signal, right? When the moon hits, we get a buy signal, but that's before the confirmation. So here's step 1, here's step 2, and then step 3 is over here. This is step 3. This is the entry, right? Step 1 is get a trigger. Step 2 is get confirmation of the trigger. Step 3 is the enter steps, right? Which is just basically after confirmation and trigger and confirmation, you then enter on that next move. Now, how do you enter here on a 15 minutes? Very simple. This is a very simple thing. When you get this alert, right, and all you're going to do to set this alert is you're going to right click, go to add alert to VC Price Action Tracker. You're going to go once per bar, go to message. You're going to add a custom name. This happens to be a Solana, which is the coin. It is a 15-minute, and it is a, we're going to put change of direction. And that's simply going to let us know that the 15-minute is changing direction, meaning that it can say buy or it could go back to a sell, but that's what it is. But we know that that's what if we're looking for the entry side, we know that that's what we're looking for. So we put change of direction, and when that pops up, then this is the section that we're going to buy on. Now, how do you know that you're buying, or how to buy correctly, right? How to entry correctly, right? It's very simple. Every candle that you work with, if you're going to be entering a trade, this signal would be happening on this particular candle here, right? So this particular candle here will be the signal that happens. Now, what you're going to do is wait for the next candle to happen. So this would be the signal. Your candle that you're entering on would actually be this next candle, and how you enter on it is this. When the signal candle is hit, 2 minutes before the next candle hits, right? So if you're working on 15-minute candles, that means 2 minutes before the next candle, that candle comes, so you would be entering, right? Because you're entering on this candle. So what you're doing is you're catching the pullback on whatever candle that is prior to your entry, and then on that next candle you'd be entering. So this candle happens to be an 11:15 candle. The next candle, right, which is your candle that you want to enter on. So this is an 11:15 candle. This is going to be the 11:30 candle. Okay? So when this time turns to 11:28, right? 11:28, that is where you would buy, because you're buying on this pullback of that candle. So you would end up somewhere here, right? Now, let's say that you buy at the top of that candle, which is right here, and we get in on that level right there. You're in that section. Now, what we're going to do here, because we are doing a lessons, is we're going to show you that even if you're a bad trader and you're doing the worst thing and you don't get in on this next candle when you should, and you buy it when it peaks, which is the top of this wick here, then we're just going to move your buy-in section to the top of that wick so that you have the highest possible buy-in, which is actually the worst entry position that you can have, and we're going to basically call it that right there. That's your entry. Now, once you have that entry, this is the worst entry, right? That's the top of the candle, your 137.11, right? That's your entry. And now we calculate a very simple system, right? And the system is this. You are going to do a certain leverage, right? And the certain leverage is going to be, let me see here. We're going to grab a tool. You're going to go over here to long position. We're going to put that long position here. We're going to pull down 1%. Right, you see the low numbers here in the red box. We're pulling down to 1%. Okay. And this is going to represent our stop loss, okay, at a 1% move. And then we need a 1% upward move, which is right here. And this would represent our target, okay? So you have these three areas here, and I'm going to open up this for you so you can see. So this here, we're going to turn red because this is going to be considered our short or pullback area, which is our stop loss. This will be green because that is our entry position, and then this is going to be yellow because that's our that's our entry position. The green represents a 1% move, which means it's our target, and this is going to be basically the things that we're shooting for, right? So this up here is target. This right here is your entry, and this is what you're going to do every single time, the same trade over and over, and this is the stop loss. And normally what we do is we just put SL for stop loss. Okay, so these are the three things. Here's your entry. We just walked you through how you would make that entry. This would be the target, 1% up, and this is the stop loss, 1% down. Now, when doing this particular trade, you will be using a leverage on your multiplier, meaning that you will be doing a multiplier of 40x. So the trade is a 40x, and this is on Solana. This is a 40x, and you have a target of 40% gains, a stop loss of 40%, and that just means when you enter here off your entry, you're using 40% leverage to make your entry. You're targeting a 1% move up, which would be a 40% target, and a stop loss 1% down means that if it goes down 40%, you would lose this trade and lose 40% of your bag. Or if it goes the right way, you would make 40% in profit. So either way, it's 40% negative, down, or 40% positive based off your entry. Now your job is to repeat the same system of confirmation or trigger, confirmation, and then entry, right? And then set the same trade up over and over on Solana. 40x leverage, target 40%, stop loss 40%, right? So as you can see here, this trade played out perfectly. It actually came in and it did not pull back and hit a stop loss. It hit its 40%, and that is a successful trade. Now we're going to walk you through another trade over here and show you how this works. Once again, we're looking for the movements of what we have. So we need a trigger Then we need confirmation, and then we follow the entry steps, right? So let's go over here and let's go ahead and make that happen. So for us over here, this one happens to be the opposite of the other one, which is the confirmation on this one is actually the blue box, which represents the 4-hour RSI headed up. We're waiting for confirmation. Here's the 2-hour moon alert that we receive that pops up on this candle here, and we'll make that white. And once we have that confirmation, then we would move to our entry steps, right? So trigger, this is where the trigger has become the 4-hour RSI. Confirmation that it is growing and becoming the cause of a long would be the confirmation of the 2-hour moon, and then we just follow the same entry steps, right? And what are the entry steps? Well, we go over to our 15-minute time frame, which we're on, and once we have these two scenarios happen, what do? Right? Here's the trigger, here's the confirmation, and after confirmation, what do? We wait for the next buy signal, right? So during this, the confirmation, we have a sell. So here's a buy signal, but that was before these steps. So this is step number 1. This is the confirmation. Step number 3 is going to be this buy signal here, right? Very simple, easy to do, simple to follow. So now that we know that we're entering on this buy, let's go ahead and open this up a little bit, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before, okay? Which is where the buy signal is going to come on this candle, right? Which means you will be buying on the next candle, which means you would wait. So this candle is the 20 hours, so this would be the 20-hour candle, right? You can see it down there. So you would be buying on the following candle, and your job is to buy 2 minutes before the 2015 candle, right? So you'd be buying at 2013. Now let's say that you don't successfully buy the best entry because you're learning. Let's move to the highest candle entry point here, which would be this right here. Okay, now this would be your entry. I'm going to turn this yellow. That's your entry. Now we're going to take our position, our long position, and we're going to do a 1% move because we are doing a very simple 1% trade. And this is how you learn to be consistent. We're going to turn this particular trade here into red, green, because we are going on the upside here. So this will be green, and then we're going to just add the text message so you know what it is. This is our target, right? And the target is 40% gains. There we go. And the next thing is on the bottom, we just bring this up to a 1% move. We put in our red line here. This represents the stop loss. So when we type this in here, settings, this is the stop loss. There we go. And now we can see we have our entry, our target, our stop loss. Now, at the end of this all, once we enter this trade, the top of that candle, the worst entry possible, this is our target area. You can see that we hit our target again. A very easy step-by-step trade, entry to target, winner. It did not go the other way to the stop loss, so we didn't have to worry about losing, right? So we went the correct way. There was no stop loss, and so another successful trade, right? Let's do this one more time so that you can understand. So you can see there, very easy trade, very successful. So let's move on to the next one. And what are we doing here again? We are going to be doing this. We're going to look for a trigger. The trigger is the 4-hour RSI heading up or the 2-hour moon alerts. Confirmation is the whichever one was in first. The 4-hour RSI heads up. The confirmation is the 2-hour moon. The 2-hour moon comes up. Confirmation is the 4-hour headed up. How do you enter? Once you get the confirmation, you enter on the next 15-minute buy signal. So let's walk through this again. Okay, so here we see again the steps. What do we have? We have step one, which is what? The, the blue box, right? So the blue box decided to be step one. So here's step one. Where's step two? The 2-hour moon hits. Where's step three? The next 15-minute buy, right? So let's go ahead and walk through that. So we got the blue box. We wait for confirmation, which is the 2-hour moon. Once we have that confirmation, we then wait for the next buy signal. This one's already happened. Here's a sell, then it becomes a buy, right? We're going to buy at the top, the worst case scenario, the next candle, which happens to be here, right? I'll go ahead and make this, let's go ahead and make this a terrible situation. Let's say that you bought, you came in and you got the top of this wick. So you're just a bad trader, right? And that's okay, because you are. You bought the top of that wick and you just totally messed this trade up for the most part, as far as having a good entry. The second part would be, once we have our entry, we do a 1% move to the top, which is simply here. And this would be green for the target. And then we do a 1% pullback, which would simply be red. And that is for our stop loss. So you can see here, once again, following these simple steps, we got our entry point here, and we ended up hitting our target once again, creating another 40% gain, right? Because remember, we are doing a 40x leverage multiplier with a 40x percent, with a 40% return on investment, ROI, for a long, and a stop loss at 40%, right? So at the end of the day, all those things happen for us, and we have another successful trade, right? So this is the step-by-steps on how to, do the same trade over and over. It's continuously successful. We're not too worried about the longer trades. I mean, obviously our trades are going for a lot more, but at the end of the day, what this comes down to is just being a consistent winning trader. And this is the last one here. You can see we have, once again, the blue box. The 2-hour moon is here. And once you get a 2-hour moon, you can see the 2-hour moon hits. And right after the 2-hour moon hits, the buy signal hits, right? So whether you got that first buy signal, right? That's right after the 2-hour moon signal, you have a buy signal, and that would be your entry. And you can see that that did well. We slide to the next one. What do we have here? We have a blue box, a 2-hour moon, then the sell signal, and then we have another buy signal here. All right, and then let's see how this one works out. This one has a little pump in it, and I'm just going to show you here. This one came in here. This actually had a pullback. Let's see how this one pulled out. So here's your buy signal. This one you would be buying on the next candle right here. And let's see how this one plays out. There's your 1% pullback, and then you have your 1% gain, right? And this is just to show you guys that, everything that you do, right, is data. So here we have our confirmation. This is our confirmation of the buy. This is the area that most would get in and buy. We wait for the pullback. We got a pullback. It came at this section here, which is okay. And then what happened was it didn't reach its target from here to here. It only went halfway, and then it ended up pulling back, and it does hit its stop loss, right? So that's part of the data, right? So as we're collecting data, it's okay to lose a trade, right? It's okay to lose this trade here because you're learning, right? And the learning would be to see adjustments that need to be made so that you're in this trade here or in the bottom of this trade here, which you will learn to be a better trader as you move forward, right? Here, this is a simple 3-step process just so that you can make trades get information, collect data, and win 7 out of 10 trades and be a profitable trader, and then start tweaking all these other things on the losing trades that you can do better in order to increase or to get rid of the losing trades, or to make sure that you don't have to win all the trades, but 7 out of 10 are going to be your normal. The 3 that you lose, you will learn whether or not you were able to solve them, fix them, or actually make them winning trades. And if not, it's okay, because sometimes markets do things that weren't always predictable, right? But when you learn to win 7 out of 10 trades, you are consistent. So if you have a simple trigger, confirmation, entry plan, you can do 10 trades in a row, collect the information, then fix the things that need to be fixed, tweak the things you need to be tweaked, get yourself in a position of confidence, learn a system that works for you, teach yourself the system and steps that work for you the best, and then it all will make sense in your mind. And by it making sense in your mind, that will make it a better system for you to follow, because you will be confident in what you know, because you have just learned how to build a trading system that you can use, follow, tweak, and make better. And then once you have the results of 10 trades over and over, and you realize that you're winning out of 7 out of 10 trades, you're averaging 40 to 100% gains, and when you lose, you're only losing 40%. So that means out of 7 out of 10 trades, you could 2 or 3 of those trades will equal your losses, and the other 5 is profit. So 40% times 5 is 200%. So if you're a terrible trader, that means you will make 200% on every 10 trades. So if you're doing $1,000 every 10 trades, you will make $2,000 in profits. So if you can do 20 trades a month, you will make $4,000 a month, which is an extra $50,000 a year, while you're learning how to be the better version of yourself as a trader, fixing your mentality, building your confidence, and teaching yourself how to be patient, how to follow a system, how to take profits, and how to be structured. Right? Welcome to the boot camp, guys. If you have any questions or anything, make sure you send me an email. Get a hold of us. Like I said, we only communicate these 2 ways: vccryptonation@gmail.com, or if you're in the US, you can just text me at 331-454-2027, and we will get back to you. The boot camp will be going up. How to get in the boot camp is you simply go over to our site, which is, you can just type in, if you want, makingtradingeasy.com, or you can type in vccryptonation.com, and either way, those sites will take you over to what we call a Linktree page. And on the Linktree page, which is linkt.ee vccryptonation, you will see the boot camp showing up here. It's going to replace it'll be right here with the full beginners trading course. The trading course is what you just saw here. It's a very simple trading course. You can sign up for the indicators and everything else they come with it. This is where you sign up for that. We'll be adding the boot camp to this as the next system, where you may have bought a bunch of courses and you just want to know how to actually make the courses work for you. And the boot camp is going to fix your mentality, make you a better trader, use the system, and it comes with the full trading system, plus one-on-ones, plus the help, plus videos, everything you need your journey. And we take you from 0 to 100, full hand by hand, plug and play, working with you, showing you everything that you need to do. So look for the boot camps. They are coming up. The full trading beginning course with indicators is only $300. It is basically marked down from $3,000. And the full boot camp, changing your mentality, making you the best trader you can be, the full boot camp, everything you need to fix yourself, get where you're at, will come with the full beginners trading course and the boot camp videos. And that it will be going out, instead of the $5,000, it will be marked down to $500, guys. So good luck, God bless, have a great day. We look forward to taking you on this journey, and that one day in the future, in 8 to 12 weeks, you are one of the students that will be teaching the trading courses and go making the videos for the new students, guys. Good luck. God bless.